Well, the model and the eyes are each on layers, so I'm going to set them maybe to reference for the moment so that I can make all of my joints pretty easily. I'm going to want access to my side orthographic view. That's going to be the easiest way to start my joint chain. So right here, that looks good. I will go ahead and start creating joints. I'm going to do these in the middle of the head as much as possible. I'll do one at the base. That's going to serve as my root joint. But of course, most facial models have a body, so I would call this my neck. Then this one up here, that's the joint that's going to rotate the head. That's a good, useful one. And then up here, I'm going to make a joint that will serve as a connection point for all of the other joints. And then up at the top of the head, this is very, very important. This is going to be a freeze joint. And the freeze joint's job is to hold all of the things that I don't want to move with the rest of the joints. That is a super important joint. I'm absolutely going to bind to this. So that's going to be my first joint chain. Let's go ahead. This one's going to be my neck joint. This one's going to be my head joint. This is my connections joint, and I'm not going to bind to it. So I'm just going to call it connections. And then up here, this is going to be the top of the head. This is my freeze joint. Now, the nomenclature that I'm going to use is going to be just a little bit more complex than it has been with the rest of our joints. In this case, I'm going to have joints that I want to use to rotate my eyes, but that I don't want to bind to the head. I'm also going to be using influence objects later on, so it's going to be helpful to me to have another class of names that I can rely on so that when I do bind my skin, again, I can do a really easy search. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another suffix here, and everything that's going to be bound to the head geometry, I'm going to use BN for bind. So these three are going to get BN for bind. That's my first joint chain. Maybe I will take a moment and make it look pretty. The connection joint, that one can get pretty small because it's not going to get bound. I'm going to leave the rest of them as is. The next joint chain I want to make, I am going to start right under the ear. This is going to be my jaw. Some people like to put another joint in back here because the jaw forms a kind of a square shape and they think that that helps get that into the rig. Other people will just go straight over to here and make a joint here at the bottom lip. Either way is fine. If you'd rather do just one joint and have fewer joints to worry about, do that. If it helps you to see this middle joint so you can start to really see the jaw shape, do it that way. Now with this, the funny thing is that I am not going to bind to the first two joints. This is going to be the jaw, and that's going to be a really important joint for me to animate, but I'm not going to bind to it because it's stuck way back in the head geometry by the ears, and I don't necessarily want my ears to move when I open my mouth. So I'm just going to call that jaw. And this next one is really just for visuals, so I will call this one jaw lowercase, and again, no suffixes. This one is the lower lip joint, and I will bind to it. So this is getting to be kind of a long name, and it might be helpful to me to just say L for lower, and then I will also come in with another joint. Just going to stick it up here for the upper lip. and I'm going to call this one my U lip joint. I'm going to bind to it. So next, let's take all of these joints, like the jaw and the upper lip, and I'm just going to make them children of this connection piece. And I know you're thinking that this upper lip is really weird. Again, this is almost like a freeze joint. It's not gonna do that much. It's just there to protect this upper lip area from the lower lip joint. So it's just gonna hang out maybe right around here. Sometimes people will use it to make the start of a sneeze motion where your upper lip does kind of peel up a little bit. But it's not that useful. It's just going to be there to hold some bind information. So those are all of the easy joints. These are the easy joints. I'm going to pause this video here to give you a chance to get this part together, and in the next video I'm going to do the eye. So come back for that.